Welcome to Team Perry's Step Out of Line podcast, featuring co-hosts Perry and Lori Finkelstein. Together, they explore, meet, and share inspirational stories with guests who have made a positive impact in today's world. This podcast resonates with our hope to make this world a better place one step at a time through love, acceptance, and uplifting conversations.
Who I'm sure everybody can recognize from Schitt's Creek, played Ronnie Lee in Schitt's Creek. But we really wanted to find out how she got started in the business. And basically, I really want to know, how close is she to, in real life, to the role that she played as Ronnie? A little snarky character, very smart, very bright sense of humor. Loved it. So we want to find out all about how you made that jump into this role and other things. You're a very highly decorated, nominated actress, which is awesome. So we wanted to meet you. So you want to start by telling us, how did you get started in the business? How old were you when you started?
I think, it was always the thing that my spirit drew me to. That's the first thing. But I think really what sort of lit the fire underneath me was the fact that I was the youngest of 4 children. And I was very short for a while, for such a long while that my dad actually took me to the doctor to find out why it was that I wouldn't grow. And I think as such, I had to be the bright light in order to be seen and heard. I say bright light, I use the term bright light very loosely because I don't think my family, really appreciated my brightness all the time, but loud and, and taking chances and, and being a bit, I just think that I was a bit misunderstood, but they actually thought that I was wayward. I think that's how I started. And also it's being the last child, I think my parents retired. And so I was allowed to do all of those things like join choirs and poetry groups and drama groups and do all of that stuff. And my older siblings, I think they felt more of a responsibility, to follow the path that my parents had set out, very academic, very studious. I was none of those things. Bright, but not particularly studious.
Very interesting. I'm also the youngest child, as is Perry. I totally get you 100%.
Okay.
My mother used to say that I would get away with murder. You're getting away with murder because I used to get to do things that my sister couldn't do. Perry's the youngest, but she's probably the most responsible of all my kids. So she's wrong. Yes.
Yeah, Perry. What is that?
I know. She's the one who has to say, "Ma, grow up." So
stand with the babies. Stand with us babies.
She can't. It goes against everything she believes in.
Okay, fine.
Very fine.
Show us up.
So, and you grew up, you were born in London from what I read, and you grew up in Jamaica until you moved to Canada.
Yeah.
And I assume totally different Jamaica upbringing must have been totally different from your Canadian upbringing. I mean, I can't imagine it being the same, different climate at least. How did you like being in Canada, and you're still living in Canada? So obviously you loved it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I moved when I was 16. So when you're 16 and from a small C conservative Jamaican background, then, your parents say we're moving to Canada and you go, oh, okay. I mean, you don't really fight against it. And I was always up for a new adventure. So I remember we moved to small town Canada. That's the first thing. And I grew up in Kingston, Jamaica. So I was used to noise and music and bustle and all of that stuff. And small town Alberta, Canada was not that. So it was challenging, and I was up for it. I mean, I wasn't particularly suspicious of it, or I should say suspicious. I wasn't particularly apprehensive. I think I walked into it with, heart wide open, and the experience of it largely was the thing that knocked me back, in practical ways. One thing that you don't think about is finding a hairdresser.
Right.
Couldn't find that in small town Alberta. Couldn't find that in big town Alberta, hardly, back in the 80s. And then, we might as well laid on the line, racism was prevalent. It was there, and it was shown to me in a myriad of ways. But the thing is, and this might have something to do with my Jamaican upbringing, I just didn't understand that. I didn't understand why these people didn't dig me. I mean, what's not to dig, right? And it's with me growing older and getting wiser that it's come clear to me as to what it was. And quite frankly, it's still continuing now, because now I have an adult niece who, was right there where I moved to back in the 80s, and she experienced racism herself, quite blatant. The thing is, because of the internet, and because her world is so much, it has so much more breadth of world experience via the internet. That's what she has. She knew exactly what it was when it happened to her. Having said that, though, there was enough love and or acceptance and or curiosity, and well-placed curiosity, that I could find my way. So one of the things that in terms of other people showing that to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was able to, go to high school and get in the drama club right away, and be in that school play, and have it win whatever regional festival, and get to a scholarship to go and do a 2-week intensive of, drama. And so, yeah. So in a way, it toughened me up. It gave me opportunity, and it helped me continue on this path that it seems I was born to follow. So I'm thankful for that experience.
We're all the sum of our experiences, and it's how we deal with them and interpret them is how we live. She does a marathon every January, the Miami Marathon. I push her up until about mile 11, and then she gets out and gets in her walker, gait trainer, and does the best she can to cross over the finish line. We go with a huge team, and we do this because she wants to raise money for High Lifeline, which you very generously have offered to do a charity buzz auction, which I'm extremely grateful for. Thank you. And Perry does this, and she steps out of line all the time, because here she is, she has muscular dystrophy, she's on a ventilator, and people wouldn't expect her to change the world one step at a time, which is what she's doing. And she leaves her comfort zone every time she gets, every day when she exercises. She is in pain, but she leaves her comfort zone and does what she has to do. So she's a great
example. That is amazing, Perry.
So she inspires many people, including me.
Yeah.
And she teaches me you can't stay in your line. You have to step out of it in order to achieve greatness. Do you think of any particular moment in your life where you stepped out of line, and how has it turned out for you?
I think that when I finally decided that I wanted to become an actor, and there was nothing else on earth that I wanted to do or felt that I could do, I remember my mother, who passed away recently, actually, and who loved me, who did this out of love. She said, "No, don't be an actor, because the only Black person I see on TV was Madge Sinclair in Trapper John, MD. And she thought that if that, if that was the only example, then the chances of me being a success as an actor were so slim. And she didn't want me to be hurt. And she didn't want me to be disappointed. There have been hurt and disappointments along the way, but largely there has been success. I think that when I stepped out of that line, because this is not what my family does, right? We are civil servants. One sister is a doctor, the other sister is a banker. My brother ran his own business. My parents were a land surveyor and a registered nurse. You just go, who becomes an actor in that kind of family? But there was actually nothing else that I could think of doing. And I said to my mom, if you want me to get that college degree, this is the thing that I have to do, because I'm not going to get it any other way. I stepped out of line that way. And then I just remembered being an actor. So I think I had been acting at this point for about 10 years. You're offered auditions for roles in whatever, in plays and in TV and for movies and that sort of thing. And I remember this one time, I was asked to audition for a particular role. It was for a TV movie, and I think it was on the Lifetime channel. It was called Jasper, Texas. And I remember I was asked to audition for the role of a reporter or something. And I read the script, or maybe just the pages that they sent to me. And I said, I don't want to audition for that role. I want to audition for this role. And it was a role of Lou Gossett Jr.'s wife.
I do that too then, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm way too young, but whatever. I was like, that's the role that I want to audition for. And I did, and I got it. I absolutely got it. And had such a wonderful time working with him. He's such a talent and such a gentleman and such an inspiration. And there are other times when I've stepped out of line because I didn't think better of it and have been slapped back and have had to apologize. And I appreciate those experiences too.
Because you learn from them.
Because you learn from them.
But the fact that you're still stepping out of line and you're not stopping means, that's part of your character. You're always going to try to push the boundaries. I'm
not quite sure how else one learns anything, quite frankly. How you grow and change if you don't break out of, if you don't shed the skin that you're in, right? So to speak.
Which is your favorite role so far that you've been playing, have played in the past, or are doing right now?
Okay, so let me just say this first of all. I love Ronnie Lee, and one of the reasons why I love Ronnie Lee so much is because it's the most comfortable I have ever been on a set. And I mean that in terms of the people that I got to work with, but I also mean that Ronnie, those clothes and those shoes, it was like being in sweats all day long. I didn't have to cram my feet into any high heel shoes. I didn't have to put on any Spanx. I barely had to wear a bra. I was comfy. I didn't have to think about makeup or any of that stuff. So Ronnie Lee was great. But I do think that probably my favorite role, there are two of them actually. One is a play called Harlem Duet that examines, Shakespeare wrote that play, Othello. Shakespeare, you know that guy. He wrote that play, Othello. And this wonderful Canadian playwright, Janet Sears, imagined Othello in a relationship with a Black woman before he was in the relationship with Desdemona. And the play was about that. And I played that Black woman, Billy. And that was fantastic because of the journey she had to go through. Actually, it's all about the journey. And then the second one I would say is Intimate Apparel. And that's by an American playwright, Lynn Nottage, examining a woman who made intimate apparel for a Black woman in New York in the early 20th century who makes intimate apparel for rich white women. And she doesn't think that she's beautiful. She doesn't think that she's marriageable. She steps out of line and takes a risk with a marriage that teaches her something. And yeah, I love playing those kinds of roles. I love doing theater like that gives me those juicy roles that I can bite into and find out something about myself in the process.
What are you doing next? What do you have when is filming started anywhere? I don't even know. I think that's hard to tell.
Yeah, we're starting in Canada. You know, COVID protocol is set, and people are finding a way to make product. So I'm going to start production on a new series called Lady Dicks, and that's great. It's about women detectives, and it's funny, and it's something that is created from the female gaze, which I think is something that we keep thirsting for, because Lord knows in the 50 years that I've been alive, we've seen so little of it, but it's getting better, and this is a part of it getting better. Great cast, really, really funny, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. That happens at the end of this month. And we'll see what else comes up. You know, I mean, there's a Hallmark series of movies that I do called Morning Show Mysteries, and I've done 4 of those or 5 of those. So we'll see who we do. I think we're going to be shooting another one in the winter, and we'll see what comes up. I hope stuff comes up, because I need to pay those bills. There's a Netflix series that I shot last year, called Tiny Pretty Things. I don't know when it starts airing. It's about ballet dancers, and I play a mother, one of the ballet dancers' mother, and yeah, we'll see when that. I guess I'll blast it on social media when they tell me when it's airing, and that's what's happening so far.
Wow, busy lady. You like saying busy, obviously. What do you like to do when you're not working? Read,
when I'm not working, I do. And that's something, that's one of the things that has gotten me through, and I'm sure a lot of people, through isolation or quarantine or whatever it is that we've had to do, is watching people tell stories. And I love those great stories about imperfect people who step out of line, and the experiences that they have, the journeys that they go on. So there's that. I have a garden that I really enjoy. I have a boyfriend that I really enjoy, so he and I are each other's bubble. And yeah, and I bake a lot, and my neighbors enjoy it. And we've just started doing socially distanced visits, and reading. I find ways, and now stuff like this is happening, doing interviews, having to figure out the whole Zoom thing and the lighting thing, and all of that. It seems that the days find a way of filling themselves up.
And your sense of humor that you showed in your character on Schitt's Creek, really, we just would sit and laugh for you. We would laugh. Because
how much of that is my mom's face?
Oh, it's so funny. Just the character. What we loved most about the show were the characters, because each character was so special, and you couldn't pick your favorite because they're all your favorites, and it was just great. We watched, I think, it 2 or 3 times already. Why it's going through it?
And you're not done. You're not done.
Because it's like a good book. Every time you read it, you see something else in it that you didn't see before.
Yeah.
And looking at each other saying, how did we not remember this? Like different scenes or whatever. So, that's just the way, any good book is.